Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Hinkle. I'm sure everyone in this class has an appreciation for securing our personal information, right? Well, unfortunately, it seems that many companies you likely do business with don't share this appreciation. Many of these companies, either through negligence, ignorance, greed, or combination of these, have allowed their customers' private information to be leaked to the public. I'd like to talk about the 10 worst breaches from last year. In doing so, I'll summarize the leak and its severity, the information leaked, and the resolution, if there was one. By the end, I'm sure some of you will be reevaluating how you share information with the companies you deal with. First up, we got Panera Bread. So in about August of 2017, Mike Gustavson, Information Security Director of Panera, was notified by security researcher Dylan Houlihan that Panera's website was leaking customer data. Mike proceeded to ignore this warning, thinking it was some sort of scam. When Dylan pressed further, he was told that they were working to address the issue. 8 months later, they finally took the site offline to address the issue. What was leaked? Customer names, email addresses, physical addresses, date of births, and the last 4 digits of their credit card numbers. So what happened here? After 8 months of knowing about this leak, the site was taken down for maintenance. Initially, a statement was released claiming about 10,000 accounts were leaked. After they were pressed by the security community, this was later increased to 7 million. However, according to third-party researchers, this number is well over 37 million. Customers were notified to enter their accounts by Panera and review if they were affected, and the leak was closed. Number 9, we have Newegg. What happened here was August 14th to September 18th, there was 15 lines of card skimming code injected into Newegg's web server. The script would forward data entered into the checkout page to a command and control server. This attack is the same used against British Airways around the same time. What was leaked? Quite a bit, actually. The numbers aren't completely known, but Newegg does state that they average about 45 million customers per month. Any customer that completed transactions during this time would have had their names, email, physical address, and complete credit card information skimmed. This includes credit card numbers, expiration dates, CVC numbers, all of it. What was the resolution here? The malicious code was discovered and removed. Customers were instructed to contact their banks and have their credit cards replaced if purchases were made during the August-September window. Facebook, this one's pretty popular, I think everyone's heard of it. This was the widely talked about incident where Cambridge Analytica harvested the information of over 50 million Facebook users to allegedly manipulate the 2016 US election and the Brexit campaign. This was done against the rules put in place by Facebook. The leak was discovered because a whistleblower from Cambridge Analytica came forward. This breach included over 50 million users' profiles, private messages, friends' profiles, political views, and more. User login information was not compromised in this leak, fortunately. Also, the number I've seen thrown around could be as high as 87 million. Resolution here, well, there largely wasn't one. Facebook apologized, sort of, but maintained that the information was obtained without their permission and breaks the rules. According to Facebook, Cambridge Analytica has certified the data has been destroyed. Of course, there's really no way for us to know that for sure. Facebook also claims that they will start auditing apps on their platform, and any companies that don't agree to an audit would be banned. Elasticsearch is number 7. For those that aren't familiar with this, Elasticsearch is an enterprise-grade search and analytics engine. It's kind of like Google on steroids. This leak was discovered in November. Due to a misconfiguration, index servers were available on 3 public IP addresses, totaling about 73 gigabytes of customer information. Of this, over 82 million customers had their information leaked. 57 million were consumers, and 26 million were businesses. Consumers had their names, employers' job titles, and email, physical, and IP addresses leaked. Business information leaked included names, carrier routes, email, web addresses, employee counts, revenue numbers, SIC codes, and much more. The resolution here, it was actually traced back to, ironically, a data management company called Data and Leads Inc. They've subsequently gone out of business. Indexes were removed from public view, but it's unknown how much data was retrieved prior to the leak's discovery. Number 6, we have MyHeritage. This is that genealogy site, MyHeritage. You can send in, sample your DNA, and they'll tell you your family history. They were informed by a security researcher that the information of over 92 million of their users had been found on an outside server. MyHeritage customers' usernames, email addresses, hashed passwords were all found in the breach. Fortunately, the DNA information was stored on a separate server, and it doesn't appear that this was leaked. The customers of MyHeritage were contacted and encouraged to change their passwords, despite the leaked passwords being hashed. Fortunately, these hash passwords were salted, so really difficult to find any sort of pattern there. MyHeritage also didn't find evidence that the leaked information led to unauthorized access, and since then they've actually implemented two-factor authentication method in response to this leak. Number 5, we have Quora. This is a question and answer site. They were infiltrated by a third party. This threat actor harvested the information of over 100 million of their users. This information included names, email addresses, hashed passwords, profile data, public and private actions. That's like the question answers, requests, private messages, all that stuff. Resolution here, Quora contacted the users about the breach and asked them to change passwords, again, even though, again, they're hashed. Users were then advised to also not use the same password between different sites, which is actually good advice. Number 4, we have Under Armour. What happened here was in February, Under Armour reported that 150 million customers had their data stolen when hackers infiltrated the MyFitnessPal application and website. Fortunately, no payment information was stolen, as this is stored separately. This information stolen would have been names, email addresses, and hashed passwords in that attack. 4 days after this breach was discovered, Under Armour contacted the customers through the application and email, requiring them to review and change account passwords. Number 3, we have Exactus. Now we're starting to get into the really big leaks. Similar to some of the other leaks we've looked at, marketing and data aggregation firm Exactus leaked personal information onto a public server. Seems to be a trend. This included over 340 million individuals, totaling close to 2 terabytes of information. That's every single adult in the United States. What was leaked? Well, it put it simply, a lot. This is a very dense database on information for the adults in the U.S. This includes things like names, phone numbers, home addresses, email addresses, interests, age, number of children, gender, smoking or non-smoking, religion, pets, pet names, hundreds of more categories. The resolution here, they've removed the public access to the information, but it's impossible to know just how many retrieved this data before it was removed. Those affected will likely see a spike in spam emails and phishing attacks as a result of this. Number 2, we have Starwood Hotels and Resorts. This is the largest hotel chain in the world, owned by the Marriott chain. They filed a statement with U.S. regulators admitting to discovering unauthorized access to their guest database. According to them, the infiltration could have been as far back as 2014. This breach affected over 325 million records of the customers in this chain. This would have included things like names, email addresses, home addresses, date of birth, genders, passport numbers, hashed credit card information, Starwood reward information, it's like their reward program that they have, travel information, and more. Resolution here was that Starwood offered 1 year of WebWatcher service. This is a service that monitors the web for mentions of personal information, and then it alerts the user when it finds it. Starwood will also be facing financial penalties in many countries, as they have hotels worldwide. At number 1, we have Aadhaar. This is the Indian government's rollout of a program to register their citizens so that they can obtain various benefits for government programs. India has pushed this program so hard you actually can't be seen at a hospital or receive assistance without being registered. Babies born in India are assigned these 12-digit numbers associated with the program like minutes after they're born. It's somewhat similar to having like a social security number in that it's unique to every citizen and it's recorded with the government. Reporters with this leak, they were able to pay roughly $8 to obtain the information associated with any registered individual of their choosing in like less than 10 minutes. They were even given the option to buy software for $5 more that would allow them to print out an ID card for their stolen information that they bought. So what was leaked? Well, a lot. Names, addresses, photos, phone number, email. What's more, with the ability to print your own stolen ID, you can steal the benefits that are associated with this account, because a lot of programs are tied to this account. So there's like food assistant programs, your bank account. Someone could walk in the bank and impersonate you. SIM cards, you could get SIM cards swapped out. And this this is a database of over 1.1 billion registered citizens. It's an enormous leak. And the resolution here, naturally, the Indian government has denied all claims of this data breach, despite the resounding proof. After news stories started releasing about this leak, suddenly a fix was rolled out for their API that was being used by utility companies to verify IDs. Evidently, the API lacked any sort of access control or rate limiting, resulting in a field day for attackers. So after seeing all this information, it should be pretty obvious companies shouldn't be trusted with your private information. Even those with the resources to properly secure your data don't. There are likely many reasons for this. The primary one, I would guess, is driving profit. It seems this trend will continue until the penalty for leaking this information outweighs the savings of being risky with it. However, it would be naive to say that you should just avoid use of any and all services because businesses can't be trusted. Should you never stay at a hotel because your business may leak your private information? Should you take all your money out of the bank and hide it in your mattress? I mean, the choice is up to you, but it seems like that's a difficult way to live your life. As we know, there's no such thing as 100% secure, so especially when you're entrusting your data with others. However, there are ways that you can try to limit your exposure. One, you could see if your data has been exposed. With so many leaks coming out, it's really hard to keep up. Troy Hunt runs a great site for seeing if you're at risk. HaveIBeenPwned.com lets you enter your email address, and then it checks its database to see if you've had any leaked accounts. So you can see which ones are at risk, and if they have been, you can go change your passwords and take action how you need to, enter two-factor, that kind of thing. Which leads us to the next thing. Enable two-factor authentication. A good password that's not susceptible to dictionary attacks is not the only part of being secure. Adding two-factor authentication to your account puts that second level of protection on your data. Even if an attacker has your username and password, they still need to obtain that token to access. I don't recommend using your phone number, though, with SMS tokens, as this has been proven over and over to be less than secure. Another tip would be don't reuse passwords. I know this one's probably one of the hardest for people. If you share the same password for an account that's compromised with, say, your email account, you've effectively given the attacker keys to the kingdom. A good way to avoid this is to use a password manager. Most of these have mobile applications, web access, browser plugins to make having multiple passwords really simple. There's a number of choices out there, so find one you like the best. I've listed a few here. Think about what you share online. Consider the cost benefit of giving up that information. Does Facebook and other companies really need an open window into our private lives? Limiting your risk by limiting your exposure is probably the best way to stay safe. Thank you, everyone, and I appreciate you listening.